creative way, like you said, Cora, these companies are saying, hey, we're going to do things differently now.
Yeah. And I feel like Canada's kind of at the front of the curve with more, for sure.
Yes, I so agree with you. Yeah.
I don't think we're as afraid as the US is. Like the US just feels like it's on sort of, widespread shutdown and fear and confusion. Whereas I feel like just even the calm language of our provincial leaders and even federal leaders just seems to help soothe everybody. Whereas down there, it's, accusations and
it's every man for themselves down there.
Well, there's so much going on politically.
So much.
Kathy.
Yeah,
I know
top, right?
Kim are on the call, and they're both from Texas, so there just is a whole lot of political
Yeah. Well, the country's bigger, so there's more people. It's more compressed. All of those feelings.
I have to say, I've been extremely impressed with Justin Trudeau. I've been very impressed with his ability to stay very level through this whole thing. I really am. How he's responded to Canadians financially. Yeah. I'm very impressed with him, and I think that he's stepped into this position. He could have done one of two things, and he stepped into it very, very well, in my estimation.
Yeah, but that's the thing. We have leadership at the top, and the U.S. is missing that. They're like all over the place.
Oh, you think?
Yeah. Sorry, Kathy. I feel bad for you guys, man.
Hi, everyone. You're Canadian, Kathy. You're part Canadian, remember?
You are.
Thank goodness.
That's right.
And I'm part Texan from having been there 9 years. My daughter's part Texan too. So feeling your pain, Kathy.
Yeah.
I feel bad for you guys. It's brutal. All right.
So
is Yolanda here or?
I see your picture.
Hi.
We don't see you.
I can do video, but I'm happy to be here with all of you guys.
Hi, Yolanda.
Well, I like looking at your picture, but it'd be nice to look at you.
I know I'm just not in a place where I can do video, but I'm happy to join you all.
Okay.
Good.
Wonderful. Well, this is just kind of a preliminary, Yolanda. Kathleen and I gave the girls a bit of a heads up on what we are going to attempt to do anyways. I know the gals down in the US are going to be able to do this quicker just because of the shipping, and I'll let you explain a little bit more about that afterwards. But basically, Yolanda, why don't you bring them up to speed on what we were talking about and how you can possibly support the few of us going ahead with this.
Oh, Deb, I think you screen shared.
Yeah. Nice emails, Deb.
Busy.
Sorry about that.
Funny.
Well, yes, I actually, it's so interesting that you brought this up, Bekki, because I had talked to Dennis Windsor about this some time ago, and he was very, very excited about doing a sample program because he had come from a company that had a very successful sampling program. Mm-hmm. And the beauty of this product is that while we don't have, the little, 7-day trial sample packages, what we do have is a product that cannot be contaminated. So I have quite a bit of product that is allocated for influencers and makeup artists and such. And so I certainly can support you all with the product to sample. Also, Bekki and I had talked about, the thing is that once people get it onto their own skin and they start wearing it, they won't want to go back. I mean, that's how this product came about with Janess in the first place, because I had used my original brand on Wendy and she started wearing it, and then people started complimenting her on her skin. And so, it was like a natural transition for us to, bring it in and add the APT 200 to it and sort of bring it into the Janess line by, pairing it with Luminous that also has the APT 200. So the beauty of this product, like I started to say, is that it can't be contaminated. So you can actually take a can or several cans, primer, bronzer, and their shade, and drop it off with them, let them use it for, 5 to 7 days, and then go back to do a revisit, and it opens up the door for that, that second opportunity to speak about the product. Everybody that wears it is going to want it. So it's great to be able to just give them the opportunity to wear it. Also, because of the way the product is packaged, that little white tip that is on there, we call it, it's an actuator. It's a button that you push to make the product spray. Those are only a couple of pennies to replace. So we could actually, use the same can over and over again to sample out and just replace that tip, and it becomes a, really nice, clean product for them to use. Yeah. We also have bundles that I specifically brought into Jeunesse because I want people to have the full solution when they are sampling. And I noticed that at a lot of the parties that people were having, they were using makeup sponges to apply it. So why would you use the puff if you've never actually experienced the difference in using the puff? So what we did was we put together in individual packages of 6. They're little puffs that are about the diameter of a golf ball. They're mini puffs. And in my retail business, when a new door would open up, they would, for an opening order, they would get they'd get a display, they'd get all the testers, and they would get 50 of these little cosmetic puffs for people to sample with. And so, I brought that up to Wendy, and I just said, look, if people are going to use the puff, they'll never use the puff if they've never experienced it. So we basically got these packages of 48, and they're in the back office under tools, and they come in packages of 48. Basically, there's no CV, there's no markup on it. It's cost of goods passed straight on to the distributors so that you can actually use those as tools. And I think they end up being about 50 cents a piece for a puff. But they come in a bag of 48, and they're packaged in, cello wrap of 6 for sanitization purposes, so that, if you do go and do a party, you can, just grab a couple of those packages of 6, and everybody gets a clean, fresh one for themselves, and they're branded, so you can leave them behind, and or they can take them home with them. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the concept, is that, I can actually ship product to you. It has to go ground because the aerosol packaging is considered a dangerous good, and it costs like ridiculously expensive to fly it. So yeah, we have to send it ground. Right now, I think the borders are still closed. So, we would have to send it to a US address. And, obviously once the coronavirus thing sort of settles down, we'll be able to get that to you up in Canada. Unfortunately, I don't have any of this product that is earmarked for, gratis or sampling up there. I only have it here with me. So I certainly can get it to your US address, Bekki. And then when you guys can get across, then you could pick it up and we can start it. But in the meantime, we can get everything set up and ready to go.
Exactly. Yeah, and then start to have a plan. And what types of people would you say would be? Is Yolanda still here?
Yeah.
I guess it's because I'm talking. Your picture fell down. The people that are having success right now with this type of a program, what types of people are we looking at? Salons?
Yes. Yes.
Makeup artists?
Well, that's where I would start. That's where I would start is the makeup artists and the salons. The beautiful part about the people that are in salons is that their clients are coming to them, and they're already in the chair, and they already are draped. And so, a lot of women, when they have their hair colored, their makeup comes off around their hairline. So it makes perfect sense that the technicians could actually touch up the makeup right there on the spot. And then it just opens up a whole conversation. Oh, what is that? Oh, you spray it directly on? Wow. And it just opens up the conversation to success. As soon as you get it on their skin, they're going to want it. And the salons actually, they have that brick and mortar where they can actually stock it, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Makeup artists, oh my goodness, if I had $1 for every time I made a shopping list of every product that I used on somebody's face after I was done doing their makeup, and then they went off to Sephora or a department store to buy what I used. Whereas, it is a second source of income for a professional who's actually applying the product to be able to sell it themselves instead of sending, the client somewhere else to buy it. So, I always say that whenever I'm talking to makeup artists, why would you not sell it and make that money? Anybody in the film and television industry as well, including your local television stations where the anchors and all the people get ready and they get made up. Oh my goodness, if you could see those makeup rooms with the dirty sponges everywhere and how unsanitary it is. And the men actually love it because it doesn't look like makeup on the skin, and they can give themselves some color and even out their skin tone, and it looks beautiful on camera because it's high definition. So that's where I would start. But honestly, I could tell you that, in my travels, in all the events that I've done, it's anyone from a soccer mom who doesn't have time to apply product. I have little kids in school, so, have the moms all show up with their coffee, their Starbucks and their yoga pants to drop off kids. And it's like, hey, let's all go do our makeup together. And, I have something new to show you. So there's so many different ways that you can go about sampling the product without, having an official party, type of, thing that is, effort that has to be put into planning a party and inviting people. The one-on-one individual experiences, and you can apply this anywhere. So it's super portable. And so, yeah, I think that, our top selling in retail, Kathy is up there too. But our top selling in retail are actual, they're makeup artists, and they are selling everything that they're putting on their clients' faces. So they're the first place I would start. Makeup artists and salons.
Yeah. Wonderful. And then I know that you talked about, where are your videos, like, in the whole scheme of this? How close are we?
Oh, I talked to Sebastian last week, and we are going to do the voiceovers this week.
Oh,
so
wonderful.
Yeah, once those voiceovers are done, then it's no brainer. He is making time for me this week. They've been really working a lot on, getting social media content out there, and this is super important. So the timing just happens to work out really great.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think even in this time of social distancing, again, it's going to be a matter of when I can get across the board. It's just so absolutely silly. Kathy, where the Sumas, where you go down to 24/7, it's literally a block across the border, but I can't go down and pick up any of my packages.
Yeah. Oh, I have some of Kathy's earrings waiting for me there. Thanks, Kathy. They were there.
Oh.
But I would imagine that, I would hope that won't be too long. I haven't looked into it. And so we really can't even go across the border?
No.
Well, no, I don't think so. Right now down here, from what I've heard, the target is Easter,
I just heard this morning that they've moved that till April 30th.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they announced that last night.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
they're. I mean, I think there was a optimism there with Trump thinking he could get everything done by Easter, but they're looking. I mean, there's just no way.
Well, I know that even here, I just saw this morning Heathrow News, which is right where we all live, which is just a few blocks from the office. They went from, I think, 17 cases to 44 overnight. So, I think a lot of it is that there's more access to testing now. So, I think a lot of people were probably carrying it and didn't realize it.
Sure.
Yeah.
But even still, yeah, they're gonna keep it. And I was wondering, because it's hot here and the heat is what kills it. It's 91 degrees for the last week, but I don't think that they're gonna open up Florida and not open up Michigan. You know, I think everybody's gonna have to be, you know, sort of simultaneously opening up at the same time. So I think it's gonna be a while.
Well, and I don't think that they can, I think if they pull back at all and give any sense of security to anybody too soon,
Yeah,
backfire. So I think they're erring on the side of caution.
I agree. And it's a good idea. I mean, you
I
know,
do. So it's
it's
hard
the
to-
only way to prevent it.
yeah. Yeah.
You know what the really
Canadian
cool,
government is.
interesting thing is that the entire world is that Lisa and I were just on a call with a gal in Qatar who's a teacher over there. She's from Tunisia, but she lives in Qatar, and they're teaching virtually. It's so interesting
Wow.
that the
Yeah.
entire world.
This is the first time that there's something that's impacted the entire world, the globe, everybody. Like, it's not like one area, because we hear about it so much. It's the whole world, and every single middle class person is being impacted by this. And that's
Yeah.
where I believe change will happen.
Yeah. In
Because-
Bangkok, it's the same story. In South Africa, it's the same story. It doesn't matter where you're talking to people. It just depends. All that's mattering is how far along the pandemic scale we are, you know, type of stuff. So, yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, like, as soon as we can get our hands on those videos, because obviously there's things that we can be doing without having the product in our hands, but this gives us some lead time. And Kathy and Kim, you're going to be able to get it even quicker, obviously, because you're there in the States. And I think that we can even be sampling this while this is going on, because you can just drop this at somebody's doorstep.
Absolutely.
They can be trying it. The makeup artists, the salon owners, they're at home right now. That none of the salons are open, obviously. Right. And then having those videos to back that up with. So we've got all of our online campaign. We'll have all of the support tools that we need in place once we can actually get this.
And what are they aiming for, Yolanda, for as far as time goes with that? The videos?
Well, once I get the voiceover on, it's going to be up to the editing department on whether or not they want to put bullet points onto the screen. So basically what these videos are, there's about 25 20-second videos, and it breaks it down by step. And so it's not one full-length application. It's how to apply concealer using a sponge.
Okay.
How to apply concealer using a brush. How to apply concealer using your finger. How to spray the product onto your applicator and apply it. How to, it's basically how to, in every different way,
right,
broken down into the individual, so that you could actually go down your list and go, oh, I want to see how it's sprayed directly on the skin, or I want to see how to apply it with a kabuki brush. I want to see how to. So it's broken down like that. And we did it in the little blips because, first of all, you can edit it together and make a whole, customized routine with it. But we did it in those little blips so that it would be easy to put onto, YouTube as a list, but also that it can be shared on social media easily because the video is so short.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. If somebody says, I want to do this, or somebody says, I'm having trouble, well, try this. And you send
Yep.
it.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that they're going to want to bullet point it, but once they have the voiceovers done, it'll be super easy for them to just, basically title page, how to apply with a sponge. Yeah. And then, step 1 comes up, step 2 comes up, step 3 comes up as I'm talking through it. And, like I said, I'm going to prioritize the ones that I know that people are going to want the most out of. Do you guys have shimmer up there yet?
Yes.
Okay, that's great. Because
No, we don't have shimmer
Oh,
here.
sorry.
No, we don't have shimmer in
We can
Canada.
get it. Sorry, I just meant
You
to.
can,
Yeah.
you can get it though.
Yeah. Well, in our
Okay.
import cart.
Import card.
Okay. Okay, that's good. So, yeah, so it's, you know, how to use the bronzer, how to highlight, how to contour using a brush. Like, it's all the different, you know, things. The only thing I didn't do that day was how to cover a tattoo, because I didn't have a model that had a tattoo, but I can do that separately. And by the way, I do have a breakdown of that I wrote out for someone that specifically asked me. So if you want that, I could send that to you in writing. I just haven't filmed it yet.
Oh, in writing would be great, because a makeup artist could then do that. I'm thinking like weddings.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, that's the other thing. Wedding photographers, wedding planners, you know, if you contact them and find out who they use for makeup, those are great people to look to. The other thing is that I don't know if you guys have it up there. There's a magazine called Beauty. And it is a magazine that is very specifically catering to cosmetic surgeons. I think initially the concept of it was kind of a advertorial type of situation, where the magazine sold advertising spots, but they wrote the advertising like an article about the doctor.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And it is, it literally is, it's like a telephone book for all the top cosmetic surgeons. And the beauty of that is that you know that these cosmetic surgeons are willing to spend money to promote themselves and their, you know, their services and their offerings. So in the back, there's literally a telephone book of all the top cosmetic surgeons.
Wow.
It's in the US for sure. I don't know if it goes up to, you know, if it's all of North America, but it is certainly a great tool to reach out to doctors, and every issue has a whole new set. So, you know, I think it's a bi-monthly magazine, but they're amazing because doctors don't like makeup because typically it's contaminated. Their procedures are meant to allow someone to have, you know, good enough skin to not wear makeup. But unfortunately, the procedures that they do require that you wear some kind of coverage. And so they love this product because it's non-contaminated. It's easy to use. It's healthy and good for the skin. So cosmetic surgeons and dermatologists are another great place. The salons that have estheticians, because estheticians do facials, they do extractions, and they do waxing. And then they send people out the door with red faces. If they could mist this over the top, it's not makeup. So when you look at the ingredient deck, it's 33% water. It's another big chunk of that is emollients and antioxidants, vitamins, and botanicals. So A, E, D, aloe for soothing, and then only 8.4% mineral pigment. So when you think about it as it's more of a skincare treatment than it is, you know, makeup. But the mineral pigment, you know, they're natural pigments, and it's such a small amount, but it evens out the skin tone. So you send somebody out the door, you know, without their red face. So my daughter goes and has facials and gets extractions, and she comes out, she's wearing this, you know, they put this tinted moisturizer on her, which actually accentuates the redness because it doesn't cover anything. It just adds yellow. So I'm like, oh, you know, I like make her wash her face as soon as she gets home. But yeah, it's interesting that environment, it's totally untapped. So it would be another really good place to start.
Yeah. I think that the mindset for this, I know that we have Jeunesse as this whole, but I think the mindset for this is that we have to be very, very narrow and I think we have to almost think we're just selling NV. We're just promoting NV when we go out, and we don't talk about any of the other products. This is kind of to get the foot in the door.
It's a niche, right? We're
Yes.
creating a brand in the brand.
Absolutely.
And creating a following just specifically for this. Because I think that we can create a bit of a movement around just the envy. If like Bekki said, we keep it just the envy.
Well, and we're creating a website right now. It used to be called Be the Envy, but it was it looked very much like a corporate site. It didn't look like an actual beauty brand. So they're basically building me a website similar to how Mark's Zen website looks, to where it is a standalone brand.
Nice.
And it will have the videos, it'll have the press, it'll look like a traditional, retail cosmetic brand, but yeah, it won't have any connection. It may have some Jeunesse, logos here and there, but it's not going to have any of the other products. And it will also have a shopping cart that, is kind of part of that CCAP type program where it spins out customers that go there. But at the end of the day, it is going to be sort of a, formal, more of a makeup artist type of a website. So I'm not sure, down the line if they'll have that available to mirror, but especially for me, when I go do press or I meet a magazine, they want a website to send the customers to get more information. And so that's what I was missing. And they're doing that for me now.
That's good.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So we're going to be a few of the people that will be the forefront. There's a couple of girls that couldn't make it today. I know Lisa is over helping somebody in Qatar sign up, which is exciting. There's no envy available there yet, which is weird because they're shipping from Europe. And
where's Qatar?
It's in the Middle East. It's across from Dubai, but they don't get shipping from Dubai for whatever reason. Omar is not shipping it there. It's coming in from Europe.
That is interesting. I know that there's a few other places down there that we're getting it from Amsterdam, which was Reunion, and it's like South Africa area.
Okay.
And so, yeah, it's interesting how they do different things in different areas, but I think a lot of it has to do with who plays nice together. And so maybe they don't play nice with Dubai. I don't know.
Maybe
but
not.
I was hoping to go to Dubai Lead, but they canceled it.
Yeah.
So, but we'll get it there. Once it gets into that area, it's going to blow up. So
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Envy has not seen its day yet. It just has not.
Oh,
People
definitely
don't
not.
realize what it is. And it's just up to people like us, because honestly, you guys, somebody is going to do this. Somebody is going to be running around. They're going to have huge success, and then we're going to say, shoot, how come they're having such good success? It literally is going to be just because they're putting the legwork in. And
well, I think it'd be really great that once we get close to do like our own little private masterclass, so that, when you speak to it, like, I understand that, like for me, I apply it every different way. I spray it on myself. Sometimes I spray it on people. Sometimes I apply it with a sponge. It really depends on how I think they're going to want to apply it when they get home. So I think a lot of times, people go, oh, well, a distributor might say, oh, I don't spray it on, but they might come across someone that wants to spray it. So we should know how to apply it in every way, even if that's not how we do it ourselves.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And it takes a bit. Probably everybody, when they were first using it, is like making a mess, and it's on the floor, and it's on
the
everything.
wall.
Yeah. Yeah. And you do get used to using it like now it's just like, yeah. And then,
and I always kind of make the reference, like, do you remember the first time you polished your fingernails or applied mascara? It wasn't, it takes a few times to kind of get the hang of it. And some people are going to, they're going to spray it the first time and they're going to have amazing success. And then some people are going to, have a terrible, time with it, and, and then set it aside and never use it again because they didn't know how to use it in the first place. And it does require some sort of, training process, some sort of visual, because, a lot of times when you spray this on someone's skin, their eyes were closed. They didn't even see you spray it.
Yeah.
So
Deb, do you remember the first time? I've got you muted, but the first time Deb used it, we were rooming together in Florida, and she turned around. Oh my gosh. She looked like a Tin Man.
I still think that picture needs to be publicized.
Because it was so funny.
yeah.
Oh gosh. That was,
Poster
Well,
child.
Bekki, I think the other funny one was when you used the primer on your face and it was clogged.
oh
It
yeah.
came out in a big lump. We won't tell you what it looked like, but it looked just like.
Yeah, thanks, Bekki, for explaining that story and keeping me muted.
Oh my gosh. It was so, I still bust a gut every time I think about you.
Yeah.
Turning
That's all
around.
right. Bev was green. Bev was green.
Yeah.
And he did the same day.
I think it,
Yeah, I think you might have a little too much.
I think that picture needs to be posted in our Youth Enhancers group.
Oh,
I do.
what not to do.
Take one for the team, Deb. Come on.
It be gone wrong. Bloopers.
Bekki was literally rolling on the floor.
I had tears running down my face.
It did look like a Tin Man. She honestly.
It was gold. It was gold. She was gold. Like the
Oh my
gold.
goodness. I could imagine. You know, a little bit goes a long way, but people don't tend to use just a little bit. They want to like get to the, you know,
Yeah, let's
get to the end result quickly.
full coverage.
Yep.
Well,
Right.
I have also done the mistake of doing thinking I'm doing primer
No.
Doing the bra.
all over my face. I'm like,
Yeah, that
Very fun.
happens.
Yeah,
Okay,
Well,
so
Right.
I think that's great.
does anybody have any questions?
Yeah.
How are you all feeling about this?
Bekki,
I
I
do.
just have one question about it being available in Europe, because as you know, I had someone sign up there and it's been since December and they still haven't gotten their product. So what's the status on the delivery in
I
the
don't
EU?
think Yolanda knows anything about that.
Okay.
Where-
Okay.
Where in Europe?
It's in Frankfurt, Germany.
You know what? Let me. I'll get on the phone with Dumont. He's our, head of global, inventory control. I don't know exactly what his title is, but he's over the top of all of that. And then I can
Okay.
also ask Kyle as well and just find out what's going on. It may just be that the expired product issue. Did they order it or they don't have it, or they ordered
Well,
it?
no,
And
they signed up with the starter kit, which was the Envy starter kit, and they only got the primer and the like the brochures and all that, but then nothing else has come. So Becky's been working with me on it, trying to solve it, but it's not been solved because I don't know if they don't have the product or if they don't have the colors, or maybe it is the expired part, which really wouldn't be a problem because it's a friend of mine. We could work around that. So that would be, if you could look into it, that'd be great.
You could just get anything sent to her. That would be wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, I would just even take the Luminesce, but for the fact that it's been since December and now it's March and she hasn't received anything but a primer is not really, okay.
Yeah. So Frankfurt, Germany, and ordered in December and ordered the NV startup kit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now they
I
offered to
have
give
a
other product in lieu of it, but it didn't make sense dollar-wise. They didn't want to give any. Anyways, it would just be great if we could get something.
Yeah, I'll
Right.
get to the bottom of it for you.
I
Okay.
have a question for Yolanda.
Yeah.
Have you had experience if you were going to a salon or whether it be a spa or a hair salon and that does different things, when it comes to talking the business side of things and how they retail the product, do you just leave that up to them?
Well, you know what? It's a different environment now that we've got the unified pricing.
We don't have that in Canada.
You don't. So are you still selling at the original retail price?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes it easier. Yeah, I mean, we have our suggested retail price. They would, obviously you would want them to sign up as a distributor so that they can buy it at wholesale and resell it. And then, in that particular type of situation, it's great because they already understand retail. They're selling shampoos, hairsprays, that kind of thing they're buying it at a discount and they're reselling it to their clients at that suggested retail price. So, you want them to sell it at the price so that they make the margin. I'm not sure what your margin is up there, but, if they're signed up as a distributor, they're going to get the, distributor pricing, which is, I think, about 30%, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about 30%.
So then just to take it a step further, like, I'm thinking of, trying to show a salon that they could actually benefit and have another stream of income from this. So using our Jeunesse business model, like, two questions come to mind is, like, would we advise them that they can have their clientele sign up directly with them? Or how then do they build that business model where we have, the binary and the left and the right and all that kind of stuff going on? Has anyone had any experience with that with salons and suggesting how they manage that?
Well, initially, the ones that I've talked to, initially, I don't even go down that path because I've wanted them to, go with something that they know. Then once they start selling it, that's when you can offer just from my perspective, because I'm not a distributor. So I just want to hook them in with something that they know and feel comfortable with. Typically a makeup artist, a salon, they have their full-time job. They have their thing that they're doing, and they're not looking for something else because it just dilutes what they're doing. But then once they see the opportunity and other people get excited about it, how many salons or esthetician, people that do hair, they know other people that don't work in their salon.
Right.
So that's where that you open up the door and say, how many friends do you have that are hairstylists that don't work here, that don't have this? And then you could sign them up. And that's when you start explaining the other things. That's just my experience, but, makeup artists haven't really been receptive to the whole, getting involved in anything other than just reselling until now. I mean, my goodness, everybody that maybe would have said no to it before is going to be a lot more open to it now, considering they're out of work, they're out of a job, and they're sitting home and they have nothing, no income, because when you're in the service industry, every day you lose it's money you don't get back. Yeah. You're not going to have an extra day in the future to make that money back. So, it's a different environment now than it was a month ago, even.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Yolanda. That's great.
I know that because my son's a stylist, and what they're doing now and what he's offering is home delivery of some products he's got a few different products that he's suggesting to try and keep people from using box dye over the next little bit.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people, I think, might be open that are in that industry to be able to make some cash while this is going on.
That's really interesting. In Malibu, we had salons that would custom blend their color and then deliver it to people's houses that, actors and people that traveled a lot. Wow. Where they knew they were going to go to another salon in New York, but they didn't want them to come back with their hair color a different shade than they left with. So that's a really great idea.
That's a good idea.
And it's that base color. So like, you never know what color your hair is going to turn when you get it done again.
It's true. And to undo that band takes months of correction. So that's a great idea.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, this is only limited by our time and our creativity on how we want to market.
Yeah.
This and I think we need to give people ideas on how they can make some money with this. If you can be making, I don't know I can't remember exactly what it is between wholesale and retail, but you could be making $20-30 on a bottle. That's
absolutely.
Yeah.
So I've got a couple of questions for Yolanda.
Yeah, Kathy.
You had said that, and I know that this is true, that it's all contained and it's all sterile inside the canister. And with speaking to that, I have a bronzer, and I was wondering on the expiration, what happens past that expiration date? Because I've got a bronzer that smells I just opened it, and it expired in January of this year, and it smells like mildew. So I'm just wondering about that.
Well, that's interesting, Kathy, because so in my experience, I manufactured my own brand for 15 years prior to partnering with Jeunesse. And in my manufacturing, and I sold in Canada, I sold in Japan, I sold all over Europe, and the hardest places to to label and with registrations and everything are in those places. So my requirements, and which are still the requirements, are to put a 24-month box. It's like it says 20. It's a 24, and it's inside of a box on the box. And the 24 months in cosmetics is from the date of opening. Unfortunately, Jeunesse, when they started manufacturing, they manufactured and put the same regulations on the cosmetics that they did for their edible products. And so that expiration date that is on the can is not accurate because number one, you never actually open it. So it's never exposed to air. I can't speak to the fragrance. In fact, I would love for you to send it to me so I could see, maybe it's just, I would shake it really well and spray it into a tissue for a few seconds. It may just be gas, the gases that are kind of caught up in it that aren't mixed in well, but the expiration date shouldn't even be on the can. What should be on the can is the manufacturing date in a code, and the expiration date is only from the date that the product is actually opened for 2 years. And they do that because people hang on to their mascara for way too long. They hang on to products. Yeah. You know how it goes. It's like, it's funny if you were to look into anybody's cosmetic bag, you would see things in there that they haven't hung on to, but they haven't thrown away and should have a long time ago.
Yeah, I still have some stuff from Texas.
There you go. There you go.
I don't anymore.
Yeah. Well, I think we all
that expiration date shouldn't even be there. And I actually just addressed this with Wendy and Rob and Dumont, who's in charge of all of the manufacturing, and he agreed with me. He said, he didn't understand. He inherited it, obviously, because it was already happening, but by the time he came on board at Jeunesse. But I was like, it's not required to be on the can on that, because that expiration date is basically 2 years from the manufacturing. But I can tell you, Kathy, I had cans in my warehouse that were 5, 6, 7 years old, that were, shades didn't move. Like, the shade number 10 was only 2% of our sales. And we ordered 50,000 cans at a time to keep the cost low. And then they wouldn't move as fast. And so, and we tested it specifically over the course of the years to micro challenge it, and also to make sure that the stability was still there, and it always was. So that was one thing that I did with Dumont is I requested the manufacturer to do a stability test from our first run of product to see, you know, and that was what, February of 2017. And, you know, all of that product is long gone, but we do still have the retains from it that the manufacturer holds on to. And so they're going to test that for stability and micro challenge it just to prove that, you know, that it's correct, which they should do regularly anyway. Yeah, that expiration date is it shouldn't even be there. And I said that to Bekki. I mean, that's why I'm using a lot of that product to, you know, give to makeup artists and, you know, to use for, you know, for parties and stuff. So we're not using our, you know, our live inventory for, you know, spraying and these big, you know, red carpet events and, you know, all that where we burn through cans. So that, you know, Kathy, I know you do a lot of shows. I could send you some so that you know, you're not using your live inventory too, but I would just shake the can really good and spray it into a tissue and clear it out. And then, you know, if it does still have a fragrance, I really would want you to send it to me because that would really surprise me.
I'll do that. I've been using it and it seems okay. It's just got a really, really strong odor. I mean, I thought in my bag, I thought that I had a puff that had gotten wet and that it was in there mildewed. That's how bad it smells.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Do me a favor. Do you have access to it right now?
Yeah, I can go get it.
Shake it, spray it in your hand for me.
Sure. Let me go get it.
Okay. I mean, the only thing I could think of is that maybe the can has a leak because there's no way you could smell it at all without it being sprayed.
Good point.
So do y'all think y'all can smell this? And this is the one that I sprayed just a couple of days ago in my video, but I've been using it all this week, but it's a new can. I say new, it's January of 2020 on the bottom.
Okay.
But I shake it up. Okay, now in my hand.
Well, it looks fine. It
smells bad.
It does. Okay.
It
So
does.
you don't have to send it to me. I'm gonna have a retain sent to me from the manufacturer and see what the issue is, because it'll all be from the same batch that they manufactured. So it says January.
You want the number?
Will you text it to me? Actually, no, never mind. I got a pencil here. Yeah, go ahead and tell me what it is.
18015.
And then it's January 2020.
Yes.
Okay.
This smells really bad.
What does it smell like?
It works fine. It almost like something died.
What?
It smells like something was mildewed, really, really bad mildew.
Well, that to me sounds like it's the APT, because there's nothing in there that would smell rancid except for something like that. So that would be, that's the only thing that would have any kind of an off-putting fragrance, you know, if it was. So I'll check with the manufacturer.
Okay. I've never had one happen like that before.
Okay.
So.
Let me, I'm going to call him right now, actually, as soon as we get off the phone, and see if I can get one sent to me.
Okay.
Kathy,
And
did you have
I'll be happy if I need to. Do what?
Yeah, I'll send you a new one.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you.
Text me your address and I'll get you a new one in the mail.
Okay. Do you want me to message it to you? I don't have your cell phone number.
Yeah, it's fine. I can give you my cell, but you can message it too. My cell is 310.
We all write it down.
Yeah, of course. Please do. 310-924.
Okay.
1716.
1716. Okay. All right. I'll have to do that when we get off because I'm using my phone.
Yeah, me too.
Thank you.
Calling Yolanda.
And also, you had talked about the sampling program and that you would send us stuff. So what's the process? What do we need to do to do that?
Well, that's one of the things that we were going to talk about, is that, you know, when you do a sampling program, you're going to need multiple sets because you're going to want to have more than one person sample at a time. So you would need, so when we did our focus group before we launched, I sent a full set to, you know, 26, 28 of our diamond distributors to go out and throw parties. And so I actually sent one of everything: primer, shades 1 through 9, and a bronzer. And literally within 1 week, I was getting calls from everyone pretty much that needed more primer, more bronzer, and more of the shades 4 and 5, because those were the ones that they were, you know, spraying most frequently. So you would need multiple sets of especially the primers, bronzers, and then those mid-range colors. So we need to just kind of decide, you know, how many sample sets do you want to have going at one time per person? Meaning, how many sample sets do you think you would have out? 12, 6? And then, you know, I would send probably, you know, if you thought you'd have 12 going at a time, then I'd send you 12 primers, 12 bronzers, 12 of the most popular shades, and then maybe, you know, 3 and 6 of the other ones, so that, you know, you always had access to be able to, you know, offer somebody the shades that actually match their skin tone. You didn't have, I don't want you to have to wait on getting the primer and the 4 back to give it to somebody else. So, but, you know, I think you just need to decide how many sets that you think you'll have going at one time. And then we'll send out the packages accordingly. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we'll order our own tools, our own puffs and things like that. Are we able to, Yolanda, do you have extra of the actuators or a way that we can purchase some of those?
I'm gonna get them. I'll have them by the time we start this process. I'll get them within a couple of weeks, but I need to talk to DeMont and just tell him what we're doing, and then have him pull those from the manufacturer for me.
Great.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So like I said, Kim and Kathy can get started quicker. For the rest of us, we'll just figure out kind of how many. I personally don't think I'm going to have 12 out at any one time, but I could probably have 4 or 6. So we'll figure out those numbers.
Okay.
In the meantime, and figure out who wants to make because it'll be a commitment to do this. We'll have to obviously have a way of tracking it so that we can figure out what the numbers are. We want to be able to have actual results of how this is working. Lisa, we've recorded this all, so we'll be able to. Were you able to get Miriam set up?
She's just, yeah, we had a few hiccups along the way. She's just calling her credit card company to get the billing address because she has no idea. So.
Okay, all right, we can.
Revita Blue. Hi, everybody.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna have to have some more. We'll create a group so that maybe I'll create a different Facebook group, and Yolanda, I'll add you to that in case anybody has any questions, and you can kind of see what we're discussing in that.
So Bekki, you might want to edit out Yolanda's telephone number.
This is only for us. Nobody else is going to have access to this.
Okay.
They find me one way or the other. Don't worry about it.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Fantastic. And we can't wait until you've got that website, and we're excited to get the videos. And yeah, like I said, I don't think that we've even come anywhere close to scratching the surface with this product. And
I totally agree. And you know, the thing is that and the reason it's so good in this environment is because it does require some sort of demonstration and explanation. I mean, for this product to just sit on a shelf in an Ulta, it's very difficult because, you know, it doesn't really say what it is, how to use it. Whereas, but we're actually, our company isn't really a company that does parties. You know, we're more about building the business, which is why it really hasn't taken off to that level yet. But the sampling program could actually be the very thing that does make this product take off.
Absolutely. And like I said, I think sometimes this can be overwhelming for people because there are so many different products. So I think with this particular one, we just have to take our heads and just narrow it right down to we're NV salespeople. We're NV influencers, or what's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah.
Promoters.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing in this focus group. We're not talking about the other products. However, once we create the relationship with the people, the Luminous obviously goes really nicely along with it. The Nara can go really nicely along with it, but staying really focused. And I think that sometimes is what stops people, because there is so many. I know sometimes for me when I'm talking to somebody, it's it can overwhelm people because you have so much to offer. So let's when we're doing this focus group, let's just agree to like stay real focused on what we're trying to do here and really get this product out into the marketplace, because man, the level of my skin has jumped dramatically after adding this. And I don't care if I'm not doing a video call, I'm not seeing anybody. I have figured out that I'm a bit of a self-isolator anyways, because like I'm like, what's everybody like complaining about staying at home? Like,
I know.
I'm having a good old time. Nothing in my life so far. Except, well, obviously a couple of things have, but I'm not being flippant, but I don't even know where I was going there. What was I saying?
That you wear the NV every day, whether you go out.
Yeah, whether I'm going out or not. Like it is just, it's part of my skincare. It's not a part of my beauty. It's a part of my skincare now. And I think
I love that. Mm-hmm. I love that. It's so true. It's just the final step that, seals the deal.
Seals it, yeah. Yeah, I feel like I haven't finished my skincare unless I've put it on.
Yeah.
That's a lovely way to put it out there.
I love that, Bekki. I mean, we should like figure out a hashtag for that or something, because that's so true. It is.
I'm naked.
We should exactly. We should do a step-by-step skincare routine and have that as the final step.
Just have it as part of the skincare.
Yeah.
So this is, and you say this is your skincare. This is the final step of your skincare. You just have to figure out what shade you are.
Exactly. I love that.
Because there are a lot of people that do the skincare and then just wear the NV. And then I have one girlfriend that she's not a makeup person at all, but she's always outside. She's a teacher. And so for her, I did it at her place back in November. And she was like, oh my gosh, I don't even feel like I have anything on my face. And now she's ordered the product and she uses it and she puts the tiniest bit of mascara on and that's all she does. But she knows that the ATP is in it and that's what's really good for her skin when I explain the barrier, right, of the algae being in and out. And so I've taken somebody who just did skincare and now uses the NV, but she's not a makeup person at all. You won't see her wear anything else.
Well, and the other thing too is the sun protection that it offers. Did I ever tell you that story, you guys, about my sister? With Cora and me and my sister went down to we were in, where were we, Cora, at that time?
Orlando. Weren't you in Orleans or New Orleans?
New Orleans or Memphis or something. Yeah.
New Orleans. That time we went out on the swamp tour. And my sister is my sister would be an N1. She's very fair skinned, and she wanted to wear short sleeves, but she had a big bruise on her arm. And so I said, oh, this will cover it up. And I put some of the NV on it. And then when she washed that night, she was burnt except for in that spot where the bruise was.
You know what?
I'd put that.
I love that testimonial. I have a very similar one. I was actually in Florida at doing a training at a spa at the Doral. And we did a training in the morning, and they were like, oh, well, let's just drive into Miami for lunch. And we got on the freeway in a convertible, and I was wearing like a tube top dress and my hair in a ponytail. And I had the product on my face and on my neck, but I didn't have it on my shoulders and my chest. And so I had that, the seatbelt strap going across me, and we got stuck in traffic for an hour. When I got back to the hotel, I had a white streak across my, going across my shoulder to my chest, and then I was just fried everywhere else. And but my face was perfect. Like my face was exactly the way it was when I left. Yeah. And so yeah, it's true. Now we don't make an SPF claim only because the FDA and then every other country's FDA requires a registration. And so you have to go through the testing process. It's tens of thousands of dollars for every country. So it's expensive.
Yeah.
And because we already have the SPF in the Luminous Daytime Cream, we were like, we don't need to do that. But anybody that knows about sunscreen knows that titanium dioxide is a natural blocker. Also in the formula, we have micronized titanium dioxide in a blend in a compound that's in there as well. So it's we tested my original formula in Korea because it was really important for them to have the claim, and it tested at SPF 32 up to a level 6. And so, but we can't make the claim with Jeunesse because we didn't do the test. You have to be able to back it up with the testing. But it does have a natural block because of the titanium. So,
okay. Yeah, cool. So that's the titanium.
I knew it did. I didn't know what ingredient it was that did that. Thank you.
Yeah, it's titanium dioxide, and then also we have micronized titanium in there as well.
Thank you.
Okay.
So I always say when people ask me if it has sunscreen, I say, well, titanium dioxide is a natural blocker, and it's in there at the highest percentage of the, most of the shades are up, until you get into the darker shades, they're, 80% titanium dioxide and blended with the yellow, red, and black. So there's a lot of titanium in there and to begin with, but then, so I always just say, titanium's a natural blocker, and the makeup will support your sunscreen. So that's really important. You use your Luminous 30, and then you put the makeup over the top of it, and it's like double protection.
Nice. Fantastic.
Excellent. Yeah. The other good thing is that the makeup actually doesn't need to be reapplied. Whereas sunscreen does need to be reapplied.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, because it's water resistant and wear resistant, it stays on.
Yeah. Hey, Yolanda,
it seals the deal.
Yeah.
I love that.
Is there ever been any thought to I don't know, that's something that Jeunesse would have to bring out, but the spray water to set it after?
I would love to do that. I think, when we start really showing, really, big retail sales with Envy, then adding those products will be a natural fit. For me personally, my next ad will be the darkest shade, the N10.
Yeah.
And then also I would like to do leg and body products in a light shade and a dark shade, because we only did the body product in so the 2 shades of body product. The Maui is basically a blend of the shade N6 and bronzer. The Bora Bora is a blend of the shade N8, which is like Halle Berry. It's the one I used for contour. and bronzer. And so I'd like to do one that someone of, you know, a woman of color could wear on her legs as well. So a dark one. And then I'd like to do a light one so that the, you know, the women in, you know, Asia and, you know, the more fair skinned people could actually have one that matches their skin and doesn't give them a tan.
Yeah.
So, and in the light one, I would probably, instead of using the bronzer pigment, I would use the shimmer pigment to give it a glow. So I would do probably like a warm 3 blend with the shimmer to give it that really beautiful iridescent, you know, light. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Really pretty.
I've
All
sprayed
right.
shimmer on my face before and then put the makeup on just to kind of see what it looked like. And it was really pretty. So you can do lots of different things.
Yeah, I do that, Kathy. In fact, the very first time that I ran out of bronzer, I used my shimmer first, and then I sprayed a warm 7 over the top of it to get that bronzery, you know, glowy vibe, and it looked gorgeous. And then I started thinking, oh my goodness, well, we could actually put the shimmer underneath the lighter shades of foundation, and that's what I do on the Asian skin, and you know, that's actually what the application that we did on the Twilight Breaking Dawn movie. We just used a really light shade.
I remember I said that.
Yeah. It does. It gives you this glow from underneath that you can't really describe. It's like it's luminescent, really. It's really pretty.
Mm-hmm. And when I'm demonstrating at shows, y'all were talking about the water as like a setting spray. I take a small bottle of water, and as I'm spraying it on their arm and I'm telling about it and tell them that it's water resistant, and then I say, okay, now you remember, after they look at it, I say, you remember I told you it was water resistant, and I spray the water on it. And then I use the opposite side of my little puff and I tap it and I say, see, it's still there. And then I show them the puff that it's not on it. And that's a selling point as well.
Yeah, that's really good.
Nice.
Yeah, you know, I actually, I would love to do a setting spray and, you know, have it vitamin infused, something that doesn't have APT in it, because that just drives the cost of it up.
Right.
You know, so, but, you know, it could be infused with vitamins and just be a hydrator, something that you take on a plane with you to, you know, cause you know, I always have those Evian sprays, but, yeah, it would be something that I think would be a really big seller. But like I said, there's other things I want to bring out first before that happens. Yeah. So
I'm just thinking that everybody, like, we can have our own, there's those atomizers sprayed that we can put water into. So that might be a good thing to, like Kathy's doing, to when we're doing our demonstrations, to show people so that they can talk about that.
Yeah, that's the other thing, is that if you have like a spray bottle that actually, you know, lets a lot of water out, it's really good for demonstration value, because it'll show that it just beads up and rolls off.
Right. Yeah, it does. It sure does.
When I used to do HSN and QVC, one of my demos was that I would have a big glass bowl full of clear water, and I would spray it on the back of my hand and then dip my hands into the water and then pull them out, and you would see the water just, you know, just beat up and roll right off. And then they would do a close-up on the top of the waters to show that there was no film, like nothing came off even when I dipped it. Yeah, that's a good little demo.
Yeah,
it'd make a good video, actually.
Oh yeah, I can see that. That's cool.
Oh yeah, we could start doing some video. Well, or on other social media. Yeah. Okay, well,
thank you.
I guess we just need your guidance then, Yolanda, and how much you want to send to Kim and Kathy based on what they think they can get out to people. Obviously, salons aren't open, but we can get in touch with some people that we know, and at least get it going for the gals that are down there.
Absolutely. Love it.
Okay, I'll create a group then. I'll just call it NV sampling group within, and I'll add everybody that's gonna do that. I'll post this video on there first of all, so that we've got this, that we can go back and then we can ask questions, etc., and get this honed in so that we're ready to go.
Sounds
Great.
Sound good?
Thank you, everybody. Look forward to it.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm
Yes.
excited.
Yolanda,
Thank you.
for everything. So nice to be able to get in touch with you. Thank you so much for being so accessible.
Yeah.
Anytime. Anytime. Love you guys.
Okay.
Thanks so much,
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
Thanks, Becky.
Thank you.
Sure.
Bye.
Bye.